If not, I'll set up the camera and then we'll take the valves out of the head and give that a clean job. Maybe a little bit of a lap, but I'm not going to make valve for this thing. I think for what I'm going to do, this thing's just going to go putt, putt, putt for maybe to a couple shows a year, and that's about it. I don't even plan this thing to even work hard, so maybe in the future if I ever found an ice cream maker, I could hook one up to this, or a small water pump, but that's down the road. But for right now, it's going to be fine. So I'll shut up the camera and we'll kind of take the head apart and at least clean it up and put it back together. Okay. Okay, you can see I've taken the head all apart. I've taken just all the clean tank off camera. You guys don't need to see that, just flushing the dirt out of it and junk out of it. And I cleaned out whatever runners in here. It's good enough what it needs to be. And cleaned the valves up. This is the intake. It's got fairly good margarine on it. I'm pretty happy with the sheet on here. It'll survive. The exhaust, it's going to live for another day, but it's getting pretty close towards the edge. But if you're going to run this engine hard, you probably end up burning that valve out soon. But for what I'm using it for, this valve will be just fine. And I cleaned the igniter up and seems to throw a big fat spark, so that'll be good. And now I'll put the head back together and maybe one step closer to getting this thing started. Yeah, now we got the valve back in, the igniter's back on. I always use a little bit of copper coat, never sees it kind of helped seal up if there's any air leaks or anything. But one kind of refurbished head should work pretty good for what I want it to do. And I'm still pretty happy. I haven't found any cracks or anything welded or broken or anything. Even the muffler still has little 10 pieces in it. Sometimes those are usually gone or burnt out or... I guess thing we do is install the head back on the engine, and I don't know if we'll get a fire in tonight, but I gotta get some 30 weight oil, non-detergent. I seem to like that. It sort of seems to work for these engines, so. Well, I'm back. I went to go and pick up my other engine. I was sitting at my brother's. This is the other horse and a half John Deere I used to own. I traded this running engine for that engine, which I tend to like that engine better, just because of the stenciling and still the old original paint on it. So on this engine, I'm just going to take the cart, cut off my cart, and put it onto that engine. It's not a original cart, that's a reproduction cart. But this engine, I rebuilt this about over 5 years ago. And we've had it to a couple shows and it never missed a beat. But I think it's been sitting for a little too long and got bad gas in it right now. But I'll get it cleaned out and running order again from a brother, and he'll probably put that engine up for sale. So we have a couple other John Deere, and how many do you need? But I'll set the camera down, and I guess we'll take the engine off of that cart. Take that engine off of that little homemade cart and put it onto that engine, or cart. And that way it makes it a lot easier for me to move these things around. I would like to make a little kind of fake patina or something to kind of match the cart in, but that'll be another day. Well, I'm back. I was able to take that engine off the cart, and I put my old engine back on that little homemade cart and got my new engine on my kind of reproduction factory cart. Almost. I gotta get the front axle on, but I'm not gonna lie, it's heavy lifting these things. And I didn't record it because you're gonna hear a bunch of cursing and swearing, so I don't think you guys want to hear that language. But I did it. I spilled a little bit of gas. I drained it out, but there was a lot of water in the gap, and oh, it just smelled bad. It was about 10 years old, at least. So at least I got the gas tank cleaned out, best as possible. And while I was at it, I cleaned the gas out of that engine for Kevin. I'll get that all running and tuned up for him, so I'm pretty sure he'll like that. I'm going to sit down for a little bit and catch my breath, and then, I don't know, we'll put the front axle on, and I don't know, we'll go from there then. Well, I'm back working on this engine again. It's a new day. I already took off the cover off camera. I don't know how well you guys will see this, but I just like to take it off to make sure to see if any wear on the cam lobe there. It's kind of like a switchblade there, and there's the spring there for the government. But yeah, everything looks pretty good in there, so I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit and put some goop back on the cover and call it another day. I don't see anything broken or out of whack in there, so we'll leave that alone. And I checked the timing marks on the crank, the cam gear, and the mag, and it's dead on 100%. So don't have to bother retiming it. I think it's close enough. And next I'm going to find some oil. I usually like a bit of heavier oil, like 30 weight, or we have up here, I think it's like 1540, like diesel oil or something. And I'll oil up the piston, put that back in, and oil the back of the connecting rod, dab it to the crank, put that back in, and hopefully by today or sometime today I'll have both of these engines running. I'm pretty much guarantee you that, hopefully. As long as you got spark and compression and timing protocol, you can pretty much start any of these things. Alright, I'm going to put the piston back in, but let's see if I can show you guys. Not sure, but there's a ridge right here. That's for a little bit of ridge for when you put your piston rings in. You don't need a ring compressor. You can actually carefully push your piston in and it'll pop it on into the cylinder. I'm not sure what the correct word is, but that's how that works. Most of the time you'll see it on the back of the cylinder, but since this is an enclosed engine, this is on the front of the cylinder. And we'll put the piston in. Make sure you oil it up. Never have enough oil in this old stuff. And space it out. Since I got 3 rings here, I'll go 1/3 of a way for each. That'll be good enough. And then my 2 dots I had, that goes upward. And sometimes you could tap it in, just a little bit, lightly, never hard. There you go. And make sure you don't mix up the shims. In this case, I'll keep all the shims on the bowl. And give her a shot of oil. Oil's not going to hurt. Put your rod cap on the same way it came off. There's my tick. And just reverse what you did before. Okay, I got the head gasket on. All I did was just put a little bit of copper coat on. I like that. It's just a little bit of extra insurance. I guess we can put the head on. The only thing I gotta do, I gotta find it. Put the, do I need to push right on? No. No, okay. I guess we can put the head on. We've already cleaned that, so I'll shut the camera down. I can't do 10 things at once, so make sure your head's all nice, surface is all nice and clean, which I've already cleaned it. And that head gasket, I'm not too worried. That's someone's had this engine apart within the last 10 years or so, because it's a fairly new head gasket on it. These are fairly common engines, so you can buy a lot of repo parts for this stuff. That's good enough. I know my strength's at it. Where did I put the push rod? Where? The next thing to put on is the push rod and the tripping mechanism. I know before I took this engine apart, it was fairly close of everything, but if you had to dial it in, and if your timing marks are dead on, this is where you do your finishing dial-in points right here with your trip finger. You can just loosen this off and push it back and forth. But we'll worry about that when it gets to it, that time. The only concern I had was this is pretty worn, but I don't know. I like the patina. I like to leave it alone. But I do have another trip finger that's pretty good shape, but rusty looking. But right now I think I'm just going to leave it alone. And if it gives me any trouble, then I know what the problem is and I'll just go ahead and change that. But right now I'll just leave it and put this on. Okay, I think the next thing we do is put some oil on the back of this. Then we can button that up, and I gotta change my fuel line because that's not right. I have another one around here somewhere. I'll change that. And looking closer to ready to start it. Hopefully start it pretty soon. Okay, off camera, I just threw some oil, new oil on the back here. I just stuck 1540. I figured I usually like 30 weight, but I just don't have any. I don't feel like driving to the store today. And I just fill it up with oil till that hole there till you start to see at the bottom. And that's good enough amount of oil for inside the tub here. I've cranked it over and it's picking up oil all over the place, so that's good. And now I'll go get the crank cover, put that on. I did put oil on the wrist pin and all that, so nothing's dry in there. What's the next thing to do? Maybe we'll try to put the back cover on, button that up. Oh, I don't have the right gasket today. I'll order a gasket and put that on later on. For right now, I'll put a little bit of silicone in. That'll be fine. I have to make an order one day, and it's a lot of work. Well, I can make one, but for whatever it costs, it's not that much to buy one. So that's not going to happen today, but we can still run it. I'll put a little bit of silicone over that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Well, I did a little digging around and I finally found one. When I restored this engine, it didn't have any little oiling cups. So when I was down the States, I went, down the States or Mastercard, I ordered a bunch of these little oiling cups. So I got that. So we'll put that guy in. We're going to tap that guy in. Yeah. Well, maybe that one's not going in as good as I want it to be, but oh yeah. Worked good enough for that little job. I guess now we'll tackle the fuel line system. See if we can figure that out. That's the proper line right there. That's someone made it work, so there's nothing wrong with it. Well, we made our own gas line. I might still do a little bit of tweaking around the coolant, the outlet pipe, but that's no big deal. And now, I remember I made that line too many years ago too, so I've never had a problem with it. So, I'm getting pretty close to put some fuel in these things and start it up. I think that's the last thing to do. And then we can wrap up this video and I don't know, we'll see what next engine we'll work on, but I'll be right back and go find some gas and see if we can make some noise. Okay, I just put some gas in this thing, in this John Deere. This is going to be the first time I've actually tried to start it, so I don't know what none of the settings at. The timing's fairly close, so we'll see what happens. There you go. First time I've ever had it running. Man, that's probably one of my easiest engines. I think I gotta set it up a little better, but this is the first time this thing ran. So there you go. That's the first time I've ever seen this thing run. I still got some more dialing in to do and do some more adjusting, so I'd like to get it running a little bit better than that. And I'll see. I don't know. I'm pretty happy how it came out. That's my third John Deere I've done of horse and a half. My very first one was seized. Took me a while to beat that one free. I ended up, I sold that engine. And then I end up with this engine. This was seized. But I would have kept this engine, but it just didn't have the nice name tag on like that one. So if anybody's interested in anything, that engine probably will be for sale. It'll get a better set of skids. But I don't feel like digging in snow right now for a set right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and catch you on the next one, and we'll see what we're gonna build on the next time. Thanks for watching.